I was going to sow some more seeds this weekend, but I'm a little bit dubious at the moment because, yet again, another weather warning. We mentioned a few days ago that the temperatures this coming week were going to drop down to -1. A day later it's changed, it's going to drop down to -2. I checked this morning and apparently on Tuesday it's going to drop down to -5, which is about as cold as it gets around here. Just make sure that if you've got plants in your greenhouse, and especially outside in beds and pots or containers, that you put some fleece over them, because -5 will kill pretty much anything. Tonight apparently it's going to drop down to -2, which is bad enough. So from tonight onwards, right up until this coming Thursday, you want to get your fleece on all your plants and leave it on. There's not going to be a deal of sunshine in between anyway, but most important thing is to protect your plants from those hard frosts. Emma did mention on a previous video that she's growing peppers indoors, but she's getting problems with fungus gnats. And you're quite right that if you take any compost indoors, it's going to warm it up to a point where anything that's dormant in that compost is going to come to life. And the only way you can control that really is to pop your compost into something like this and then tip boiling water over the top to sterilise it. That'll pretty much kill anything that's in that compost before you take it indoors. Otherwise you will have problems with little insects flying around in your living room, which you don't want. Plus the fact that you're going to get aphids and things like that, which are going to drain life out of your plant. And we've had a bit of a problem with those, with this peppers indoors. And we've treated it with some homemade pesticide, which 9 out of 10 times does trick. But unfortunately, they've colonised so quickly on these plants. There's literally thousands of them. So as a last resort for me, I'll just go out and I'll buy something that'll combat it a lot quicker before them plants get too severely damaged. And I bought some of this today, and it's called Bug Clear Ultra. And it's suitable for flowers, fruit and veg. But it not only kills bugs, it also prevents further attacks, which is what we definitely need at the moment, because we want to get rid of all them bugs off those plants as fast as possible, because they're draining the sap out of leaves all the time that they're on it. But apart from the aphids, this also gets rid of caterpillars, whitefly, mealbug and red spider mites. So it does an whole bunch of different types of insects. So it was $4.99, but I suppose if used sparingly, only when you really need it, it should last quite a while. And you know that normally I wouldn't buy any kind of bug spray, I'd just make it myself. But when you're in a situation where it's starting to get a little bit out of control, you might as well just invest in something like that and take care of it as quick as possible. But in answer to Emma's question, yeah, pour boiling water over your compost and get rid of that problem before it even starts. If you're chitting your potatoes and you've got them outside chitting, make sure you take those indoors, because if they get hit with a frost, it's going to damage them. And we're just getting to that point now where we're going to be thinking about getting them planted in containers or in ground, which is usually around mid-April. So don't jeopardise those already chitted potatoes just for the sake of taking them back indoors if you've got some outside. We've been looking around at compost as well, because last year we used to be able to get 3 bags of compost for £15. And it was really good quality stuff, and it's called Vitex Q4. But that's gone up by quite a few pounds this year, so we shopped around for something different. And we found this Grow, which is a 50 litre bag. And it was 3 for £15, and that was from Home Bargains. But we've had a little look round again this morning, because we want to start trying to collect as much compost as we can and try and get the best deals. We popped back to Wilco's because they had deals on for 3 40 litre bags for £9. Unfortunately, I've been having a look this morning and they've all gone, and they're not sure if they're getting any more. So we missed out on that deal. So we went looking to see what else was around, and we went to Range. And the Range has got these in. It's called Super Grow. And that's organic compost, and it's 100% peat free. But again, it's a 50 litre bag, but they're only $3.99. So that again is cheaper than the Grow Show. We don't know what it's like yet, but we're gonna have a quick look, see what type of quality it is. Because you can get some really cheap ones that give off such a strong smell of sulphur. It's pretty difficult to work with. So I'll have a look and see what that one's like. So I'll just cut top off this bag and we can have a quick look. Well, it's not got an horrible smell to it, but it looks nice and rich compost as well. Since it's £1 cheaper than the other ones, it might be worth investing in a few of these if you've got a Range in your area. And it doesn't look too bad as far as stones go as well. So we picked up 3 of those this morning, and we've still got a couple of the Grow Shows left, so. But just in case we get to the start of spring and they decide to start ramping up those prices, like they have done on a lot of things already this year, whenever we're seeing it looks cheap enough, we'll get it. So that don't look bad compost at all. $3.99, 50 litre bags. I've also picked up some shallots, but they're different to the ones that we usually get. These are a red shallot. Normally they're yellow in colour, but I saw some red ones in Wilco's, and you get a bag full of these for £2.50. And if you've never grown shallots before, you plant one of these big onion bulbs, leave it to grow, but as it grows it splits off, and it can split off into 5 or 6 separate onions from one bulb. So if you've never tried it before, that might be something worth having a look at. Because we know that onions are very cold hardy. So we can start these off, plant them out and see how we get on. But we're not doing it this week. It's far too cold. And I got another bag of onion sets. I've already got 2 bags of these indoors. And normally we'd have planted them out by now. But because the weather's been so up and down, we don't take risk of putting these little onion sets outside in case they get hit by an hard frost. So we're hanging back on it, and I think again we're going to probably pop all these out and the shallots in mid-April, when hopefully it's a little bit warmer, because we will be into spring then. And we've got 2 or 3 different types of onions that we're doing this year, as well as the ones that we're growing from seed. These are red Brunswicks. We've also got sets that are growing in as containers like that, so we can get a jump on it. They're already growing and they can go out as soon as weather's suitable. But we've also got Stuttgart as well, and they're sets. And then we've got these ones, and these are called Turbo. So we thought we're going to try quite a few different varieties of onions this year. And we've also done some Paris Silverskin pickling onions, and we've got some red onions called Florence, which are really long onions, not round. We always like to try a few different things every year, and I think we've covered it as regards onions so far. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this compost. $3.99, a 50 litre bag. It's the cheapest I've found so far. Got some Chinese cabbages in the greenhouse next door, and because the weather has been so up and down, they've bolted already, gone to seed, and they're now trying to grow flowers on top so they can drop seeds. So basically they're no good anymore, but I'll show you what they've done if you've never seen what happens before. So unfortunately those are as Chinese cabbages. If we go really close to this one, you can see on top it's starting to flower, and then these flowers will turn into seeds, and that's the life cycle of pretty much any plant. But they shouldn't do this in the first year of growth, and it's the inconsistent weather, the temperatures, that's caused that. These ones have got even bigger. These are really shot up, and you can see more clearly on this one how it's starting to flower. So, although these plants are no longer any good, I think I'm just going to leave them anyway, and maybe we can collect some seeds off them and at least get something back for his trouble. And his red cabbages, they're looking really well. They've started to put on some real good size now. There's no damage to them really. There's no bugs on them. They're not even thinking about bolting. And considering they've been in here since before Christmas, from tiny little plants, with no protection whatsoever, no fleece, no bubble wrap, they've basically just shrugged off that harsh weather, and they're looking really well. We've also got some cauliflowers in greenhouse next door. So these are his cauliflowers, and although we do need to definitely get some weeding done, the weather's just been so unfit, it just puts you off doing anything. And we've got some little spring onions in here as well. These aren't really growing much, but they're also not dying. But they will do if we let them get choked by weeds. So once this cold passes, again, we're going to have to go around all these, give them a good weed. That one is trying to curl up. If you look really close, you can see it's trying to make start of a cauliflower head. And more red cabbages again, looking healthy. And then we've got the Savoy cabbages, which took a bit of a beating earlier in here, but they are trying to grow back, so we'll just see how they get on. We also put some onions in this old tin bath. We use this as a container garden, and obviously in a few months' time this will be full of vegetable plants. At the moment it's a little early, but it's never too early for onions really. So we thought we'd put some seed grown onions in here, and they're multi-sown, so we're growing 3 or 4 medium onions at a time in one little area. And then we've also put in some of these onion sets. But so far there's not a deal happening. Some onion sets have got the green stems on them, but with the cold being like it is, they're not going to do much or anything for a while yet. So we'll just see how they get on. And of course we've got lots to do in this area. We need to start getting flowers in and get the entire area cleaned up really. Those little trees there, we bought them, they was 14 inches tall about 2 years ago, and they've really got some size on them now. Really easy to grow those, and I think they might be ready for a little trim, but again, not just yet. We've got loads of work to do as soon as weather is fit enough for us to get out and do it, like weeding all these hoop tunnels that we've built and tidying around here, which is what's left of his strawberry patch. It'll start and burst back into life pretty soon. You can see the signs of growth, fresh leaf as well, but not a lot at the moment. But this area, we haven't decided what we're doing with this yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. But the small hoop tunnels, these are 6 foot by 3 foot. Again, they all need weeding, quick turnover. I'll add some fertiliser to that just to amend that compost, and then hopefully we can start and get something planted in them, because we have got a few to go at. And we've got a video on channel as well that shows you how we made these. It's really easy to do, but well worth it to keep those white cabbage butterflies off your plants. And still lots of work to do here. But the trouble is, when the weather is like it is, it just doesn't give you the incentive to want to come out and do anything. We need to turn as compost in these homemade compost bins as well. so it starts to rot down a bit more even. And then we've got this, what we call beer garden area, which we spend quite a lot of time in during summer. It's a nice little place to just sit and have a quiet drink after you've sorted out all your little plant jobs for the day. But that seems a long way off at the moment. Although it's Sunday and we were looking forward to sowing a few more seeds or maybe potting on a few more plants, but because of these weather threats it probably makes more sense to just wait a few days, because anything that you sow and grow in these temperatures is not going to do anything anyway. So we're going to hold off today, see how this weather goes, get past that -5 that's coming this Tuesday, and I think we'll just pack all the seeds up and take them back in for now. Because if you leave your seeds outside in your greenhouses, there's quite an high level of moisture in air, and then your seed packets are going to get damp and it's going to ruin your seeds. So we did bring quite a few out, but unfortunately they're going to have to go back in for now. And the same with those potatoes. At least if we can't get anything sowing and growing or potting on over the next couple of days, we can look for a few bargains and get ourselves set up with some good quality compost ready for spring, because it is on its way. Anyway, I hope all your plants are doing perfectly fine, and if you do have problems with insects because you've got plants indoors, maybe do that quick fix with some bug spray to get rid of them before it gets any worse, because it will definitely not get any better. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I always appreciate it, and welcome to all the new subscribers that have joined recently. And if you all want to see what we're going to be doing over the next week, then please hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.